Hello, fellow Aquarians. Welcome back to my channel. It's JJ. I'm here to do your December forecast. And before I start, I just want to say thank you so much, you guys, for all my new subscribers, all the likes and views and thumbs ups and even the thumbs down. I'm super grateful. Thank you for all the comments you left me. It really warmed my heart. I'm truly, truly humbled. I'm so glad I made it this far, even though it's hasn't even been a month. But I'm really happy to bring you guys these readings. It's such a pleasure. It's been an ultimate pleasure. So, this month we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. But just because I started off this way with the other sides, I was using a Celtic cross with Capricorn and Scorpio. Let's call it another experiment. So it makes sense for me to continue with this trend. And of course, let me know if you prefer it this way or if you would like me to revert back to the general readings. I prefer to mix and match. So far, I've had, most people are leaning towards going back to how I was doing it in the mid-November readings. And I like it that way as well because it's really fun to watch the cards pop out. Speaking of, I began to shuffle your cards moments before I was recording. And the reason for that is because I took these babies I took this beautiful deck to the beach today because I really wanted to ground the energy that it's been gathering over the last few weeks. I've done quite a few readings for people and I felt like I was starting to lose my edge a little bit. So I went to the beach and I laid the cards out on the sand and I put them out in order. So that means that I need to shuffle them extra well. So I already began shuffling them and one card popped out. So, of course, we're going to listen to this card, even though the Celtic cross relies on a particular spread, and each card has its own position with its own meaning. I love this beautiful card. The Two of Cups has come out for Aquarius. Seeing as it's the first card, it will take the central position, and we will add on to this card, of course, to see if there's more to be said. And I'm not so surprised that the Two of Cups came out because looking at the planetary aspects this month for Aquarius, having had the new moon on the 29th of November, the new moon in Sagittarius is highlighting our social sector. So there's a lot of emphasis on our friendships and group dynamics, perhaps with the people that we've met recently. It's really a great opportunity and a great time for us to be strengthening our bonds with people that we've met, or even having certain renewals with people that we may have fallen out of touch with. And that, when I was meditating earlier, that got me thinking about our reading last month. I remember seeing the Six of Cups come out in the future position, and I also remember it being in combination with other more kind of like nervous energy. I remember seeing the Seven of Swords come out there, and I remember thinking that like it was this feeling of a person comes creeping back into the from the past, whether it's someone we haven't seen in a very long time, or an ex-lover, or a childhood friend, or it can play out in a multitude of ways for different people, and it was combined with this energy of like, oh no, what do we do now? We weren't expecting this. Like, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? It's kind of like feeling like we get caught off guard. Again, but it was in the future position. So I don't know if that's happened for any of you guys since then. Energy takes a while sometimes to unfold, of course. I'm happy to say, though, that with this being the first card that's popped out and it being the central issue, it is present energy. So this will be the focus, I feel. This beautiful Two of Cups and harmonious coming together with someone, or maybe more than one person. Because also with this new moon, it's a great time to work with organizations and be charitable. We also have Mars in our sign. Mars has been in our sign for quite a while. It will leave on December 19th. But until then, we will continue to feel confident and vibrant and extremely energetic and really put ourselves out there. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been going out a lot recently. And that's, in comparison to how I was even like a couple of months ago. I was practically the hermit. I was not moving from my house. I was a real homebody. So with Mars in our sign, we're feeling more confident, more vibrant. We're putting ourselves out there. We're feeling a lot more courageous. We're even using our weaknesses to our advantage. And us Aquarians, we can be rather contradictory. So if one day we're feeling a little bit shy, maybe the next day we're feeling like we can take on the entire world. We're naturally like this. And when Mars comes into our sign, that influence is enhanced. But it also means that we can do things without thinking. So honestly, I would double, triple check things, of course, especially when it comes to having business ties or new careers on the horizon. On that note, also on the 19th of December, Mercury turns retrograde. So if we thought we had something going good, going well for a while, when Mercury turns retrograde, our communication gets a little bit jumbled up and mixed up. People can start to become distant and cold and cancel on you, and plans go haywire, and it's not so nice right now for plans to be canceled, of course, because Christmas is around the corner and it's time to get together and celebrate and all the lovely stuff. So, new beginnings too. Yes, we are listening to cards that pop out. Even though I promised that this was going to be more structured. But this is our challenge this month. This is what's crossing our union card. Death. We will discuss this a bit more in detail. So I'm thinking now that we're coming to a flow. What was I saying? Before that death card popped out, that caught me off guard. Yes, with Mercury going retrogrades. If you have any contracts you need to sign, do this before the retrograde starts. Even like a few days before the retrograde itself, the effect of the retrograde starts. So if I were you, get things in order beginning of the month. Before any of that happens, get your shopping done, your gift shopping, and anything important, basically. That's my advice to you. It's my advice to everyone when Mercury goes retrograde. Do not buy electronics. I would advise against that as well, because Mercury tends to have an effect also on electronics around us. And so yeah, okay, we're getting a flow. I think we're definitely getting a flow. These are your cards. Hopefully they have been sufficiently shuffled. So are you guys looking forward to the break? I sure am. Alright, you guys. So we already have a central issue, Two of Cups. Crossing it is the Death card. I'm going to bring down the screen so that I can show you the cards as much as I can while I lay them out. Alright. Crowning you, mental thoughts. What's going on in your head. This is the foundation of the reading, and it's also how you bring yourselves to the reading on a more unconscious level. In past position, what is to come in the immediate future card. I'll start to lay out your staff spread. So this is you. And this is also your influence on the reading. So whereas this is the foundational issue, this is how you present yourself in the current present state. This is what's in your environment. Your hopes or your fears can be different for different people. I'm going to bring this down a little bit to fit and make room for the final outcome card. Okay. We'll draw extra cards if there's a need to do this. Okay, so someone else got this. I can't remember who. That was also in the same position. So in your thoughts, mental thoughts, is the Nine of Wands, which suggests, again, it is a very energetic time for us. We have scattered thoughts going left, right, and center. If you're finding it difficult to focus now, that's a little bit normal, I feel. There's nothing unusual about that. A lot of people are working hard to wrap up things before the holiday season really kicks in full force, before all your family starts to come in or you start to travel to see family. I wouldn't be surprised if you're feeling like you really have to, it's not like having your guard up or anything like that, but it's more like getting things in order here. Getting things in order and not necessarily being able to be at the same, like at one place at the same, ooh. See, even I'm scattered myself. But it's like I get this feeling of trying to be in multiple places at the same time in our thoughts. It's like juggling, okay, I need to get gift shopping done. I need to make sure I've got my finances in order. I need to make sure that I've booked my ticket correctly. I need to make sure that, I'm ready to pick this person up, or this person is ready to pick me up. It's basically being all over the place. And it's fiery energy. Wands is Sagittarius, Aries, Leo energy, crowning us in our heads and thoughts. Our foundation card is just as scattered, I feel, as our mental card, and it is the Page of Swords. Page of Swords, again, is a person, who is kind of on the lookout, and for some people is just like being aware that perhaps we are sort of speaking without thinking sometimes. It is having harsh words with people or receiving this, because pages can also represent receiving messages and receiving communication. And since it is a sword element we're talking about here, it's communication that is a bit harsher than the other suits. So Page of Swords is also my paranoia card. So this being in our foundation, it could also suggest that you're wondering whether or not you've really got things figured out for this month, if you've really organized and made plans correctly. With this erratic energy, there is a need to calm down a little bit. It is a little bit difficult for us to calm down. I do understand this, but at the same time, having this extra paranoid energy here is not going to do us any favors. Oh my goodness. This bastard has to creep in again. Seven of Swords. We also got this mid-November reading. And the Seven of Swords suggests that how we're behaving is not working in our favor. It is suggesting that we are juggling far too many eggs at the same time, or in his case, far too many swords at the same time, and you might end up cutting yourself. Now, luckily enough, this is in our past position. It's not to suggest that we're going to continue doing this, but more that we're coming out of this energy, hopefully. That we may have ended the month of November like this and entered December feeling a little bit all over the place, rushing to get our goals complete, rushing to basically set up our plans for December, and not doing it in a way that serves us well. In combination with this Page of Swords, certainly are all over the place and not necessarily looking in front of us. He's not looking in front of him. She's definitely not really looking in front of her. She can't, if you look closely at this card, the ground beneath her is not straight, and she may stumble and fall and accidentally stab herself. coming up in the immediate future is the King of Cups. This is definitely more of a mature energy than Page, that's for sure. This is a person who is able to have control over their emotions, but is also a person who can sometimes be a bit manipulative with their emotions. How this all ties up to our central issue here being the Two of Cups. With the Death card, this new beginning, basically crossing it, to me suggests that, assuming that this is a person who's come in, a person who you may have already had ties with in the past, you could be experiencing a new beginning with this person, or the challenge would be to perhaps evaluate whether having a new beginning is possible with this person, if we are talking about someone who's come back in from the past, someone like an ex-lover where things didn't work out the way it was originally planned. The challenge is to perhaps take a leap of faith and have a new beginning with this person. But it could be that, yes, you are paranoid and not feeling extremely confident, which is a bit ironic considering that right now with Mars transiting, we're supposed to have all this confidence and all this energy to move forward, even in states that we don't necessarily feel our best at. It is a time basically to get rid of our vulnerabilities and our weaknesses, and to basically, clear out our closets and just basically face our demons. But we're approaching the reading with this paranoid feeling, being a little bit uncertain that our plan might not go the way that we like it to, or because it has been this way perhaps recently in the past with relationships and with certain people where things haven't gone the way that we would have liked. We're a bit paranoid now to have this new beginning with this lovely union that's come in. And if this is not with someone who we already know, like an ex-partner or an ex-friend, and this is a new partner, some of you may be a little bit afraid to have this new beginning because you don't want to get hurt again. You don't want to get hurt again, and you're a bit defensive and on the lookout here, and basically you're holding on tightly to what it is that you have and what it is that you know, and what you know is that in the past you have been affected in a negative sense, and you want to make sure that no one crosses you, and if someone crosses you, this person is built and this person is strong, and this person, even though they're not carrying a weapon here, is ready to attack, just as this Page of Swords is most certainly ready to attack. But she's younger, she's a bit of an immature energy. She's ready to attack even though there's absolutely no one around her. Again, you guys. Okay, so this is you. This is your energy. Being the Five of Wands is a very competitive energy. It's having conflicts. It's having minor arguments, and some of those arguments can be playful, so not necessarily all that serious. But again, it's not necessarily the most positive of feelings or attitudes to embrace, especially if there's a new person who's come in. Now, if this is someone we already know, this in this Two of Cups, someone who's already hurt you in the past, then I can understand why you might feel the need to have a brawl with them. Or you might be rehashing old memories where you fought quite a bit. And if this is a new person, then you might be a little bit worried that similar conflicts will arise with this new person. But again, we have to always be mindful of the fact that people are extremely different, and new people that come into our lives don't have the intention to hurt us, or so we hope. It's always a better idea to give people a chance, especially if they're new, especially if we don't know them. We wouldn't want anyone to assume that we come with bad intentions, so why should we do that to anyone? New who comes to us and offers us their cup of love. That's just, something I feel the need to say for those who are feeling extra defensive, extra paranoid, extra hurt. You're recovering from a broken heart, and you might not be entirely, ready to open up. Okay. In our environment is this King of Swords here. The King of Swords, he sits in judgment on his throne. The King of Swords is someone who feels righteous in a way. It feels like he has the right to make a judgment because he has seen a lot happen in his life. He may have not necessarily experienced a lot of this pain firsthand, like the Queen of Swords, who has. The Queen of Swords is often represented as a widow and someone who has gone through a lot of hurt. The King of Swords is someone who's got a bit of a harder exterior, a harder shell, so he may have witnessed a lot of strife happening and is basically there sitting in judgment, judging people, basically. Sometimes, again, without knowing whether or not these people deserve the judgment. But because it is a king, and kings are mature, kings have gone through a lot, years and years of experience, it can be that just from first sight, from very first moment that you see a person, and you get a feeling that they might not be the best character for you, or you might not be very compatible together, then some of us can have a tendency to point fingers. Again, I'm not saying that everyone is doing this at all, but this being in card of environment, this can also be someone who's doing this to you. And you might therefore feel like people are judging you while you're just being yourself. Again, please watch out for this period, this time, where we are more susceptible to having harsh words with people. Something this Page of Swords expects, in a way, as well. She can do it to people, and she can also receive it from people. In your hopes or your fears is this Two of Pentacles. And so a decision has to be made here, ultimately. Perhaps with regards to whether or not you're going to let your guard down and open up to this Two of Cups here. Open up to this potential union, this agreement, because the Two of Cups really is two people coming into an agreement together. This is a very beautiful coming together. There should be no strife. When I see the Two of Cups, the last thing I think of is this. But this is how we're coming to the reading. With the Two of Pentacles, you may know and you may feel that this person can be a good person for you, and it's just more a matter of whether or not you want to go forward with it. Because even if you don't, you won't suffer much of a loss. But if you do, it might be something potentially extremely great. Both ways, you might be comfortable now, without this union. And you're wondering whether or not, which pentacle it is that you want to pick. Should I go with this union or shouldn't I go with this union? It's not the end of the world if I don't. And it probably won't be the end of the world if I do. But it might, in the sense that I might get hurt. So perhaps I'm better off alone. But you know what? I miss having someone in my life. But every time I do have someone in my life, they hurt me. So what am I going to do here? You know what I mean? That's the Two of Pentacles when I look at the Two of Pentacles. It's spending time weighing your options and making sure you come to have a balanced decision in the end. You basically want to make sure that the result remains happy in the end, which it does for the most part with the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is not like the Two of Swords for me. The Two of Pentacles is a marry card. So it will go good both ways, in my opinion. Outcome is that we spend maybe a bit too much time doing this, because the Page of Cups is a dreamer. The Page of Cups spends a lot of time trying to manifest their thoughts, trying to visualize their thoughts happening in the real world. Like I said here, if I go with this person, are they gonna break my heart? And then you ruminate and you think what it was like to have your heart broken. But if I don't go with this person, I'm gonna be just fine, but then I'm gonna be a bit lonely. I don't want to be lonely. But maybe it will be good if I decide to pair up with this person, and then you can visualize getting married, visualize having kids, visualize moving in together. Oh, but what if we move in together and then we realize we're not for one another, and then we start fighting. Dreamer. A bit too much of a daydreamer. But the Page of Cups is also someone who can really manifest their thoughts. So when this card comes out, I like to tell people that they should use the law of attraction to their advantage. You want to stay away from negative thoughts, and you want to bring in more of the positive thoughts. And so that is what I encourage you to do, especially since this is your outcome card here. It might suggest that your intuition is heightened. You've got a bit more of a psychic sense going on here. Listen to yourselves, though. I mean, if you feel as though this union is not the best for you, then don't move forward with it. But if this is purely paranoid energy and you haven't even given this person a shot and you're just sitting there in judgment, basically, that's not very fair. It's not very fair. So there are two outcome cards here. You can either decide to be the King of Cups, who is someone who is in full control of their emotions for the most part, who knows how he or she feels, or you can be this slightly more immature energy as the Page of Cups here, someone who spends more of their time basically ruminating over various occurrences that might unfold in the future. It is a manifestation card for me. It is thinking like which path to take and whether or not this path will be the best, and it's just being stuck in your head a bit too much, even though this is like a Cups element, so it's more emotional. This person is trying to pour their thoughts and all of their emotions into this cup, trying to visualize whether or not it's something that they can work with. So still in the processing stage here. And when you become the King of Cups, he or she is someone who's already gone through this, who's already even had their full and their abundance of emotion, like the Knight of Cups, who's basically felt too much emotion and now knows how to regulate it. And to the extent that they can also manipulate their emotions and the people around them and make people feel certain things. I'm feeling really scattered today, to the extent that I'm really hoping the flow of this reading isn't too distracting for you guys and that you're able to follow with me a bit. Okay, so I would like to clarify this central issue and this death card because they did pop out while I was shuffling, as opposed to me actually laying them down. So let's clarify the 2 of Cups and the Death card. 2 of Cups. What can we say about this potential union here? Oh, okay. For the 2 of Cups, we have the 7 of Cups, which is, again, it's having to come to another form of decision. It is basically spending too much time thinking whether or not this is a good thing and whether or not this person is a diamond in the rough and a gem, or whether or not they're just going to end up like all the other people who have continuously hurt us in our lives. And all the contents of these other chalices are things that we usually want to avoid, we want to stay away from. But this, again, this suggests that we're looping too much, we're tripping too much in our heads. Like if you overthink, then you're not going to come to a clear, conscious decision about whether or not someone is good for you or not. Sometimes it's a lot better to just go with it and then stop it before it starts to get, before it starts to wander down an alley that you're trying to avoid. Again, this is just my opinion, but I say this because I feel that now, more than ever, we don't have to feel vulnerable. It is a time to just face our demons. Even if this means that we might get a little bit hurt, it's okay. You've endured enough in the past. You know what it's like to get hurt. So before it becomes extreme hurt, or before you think that this person might stab 3 swords in your heart with the 3 of Swords, which has not popped up anywhere in this reading, I feel that this union may lead to this beautiful chalice full of jewels and gems. Nonetheless, we're being cautious here and illusory a little bit, but still cautious and thinking things through. Challenge being the Death card here, being our new beginnings. Why is this a challenge? Why is this a challenge for Aquarius? Oh, too many cards. And what is there to say about this Death card? Okay. What is there to say about this Death card? A few cards have already caught my attention, sorry. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go with this Queen of Swords here, since it flipped in the deck. Queen of Swords, the King of Swords companion. The King of Swords being the one who has the harder exterior shell, who doesn't usually allow any hurt to penetrate him, because he's more, to me, he is more of an observer. He is the person who's seen people endure a lot of hurt and come across a lot of hurt, like this Queen of Swords, who happens to be his mate. She has been through hell, and she puts up her sword because she's not willing to put up with it anymore. So if our challenge here is the Death card, this new beginning, being clarified here by the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Swords is basically saying, I'm not willing to put up with any bullshit. I don't care if this is a new beginning. I don't care if this is a potential new harmonious relationship. If this person so much as crosses me in a way that I don't appreciate, she's not a killer. I was going to say I'm going to stab you, but she'll dismiss them, quite simply. And again, I go back to what I said originally. In my opinion, there is really no real reason to turn this potential union away, even if it is someone who's hurt us in the past. Give them a second chance, perhaps. Take that leap of faith. Give them a second chance. If you begin to feel like they're crossing you or they're challenging you in ways that were leading to a lot of strife and conflict and argument in the past, you know so much better now. You know not to let that influence you, not to let that get to you, not to let it get to your heart in a way that it's going to break your heart. You're strong enough here to be the Queen of Swords who just says, I'm not putting up with it. But there's nothing wrong with being diplomatic. And if you be diplomatic, you will ride victorious. Okay. Clarify this Two of Pentacles here being in your hopes or fears section. The Devil card to clarify your Two of Pentacles. Again, with the looping and the tripping and the looping and the tripping and having one angel on your shoulder, on one side of your shoulder, and the devil on the other side saying, go for it. No, don't go for it. Go for it. No, don't go for it. Go for it. You get the drift. This Devil card clarifying the Two of Pentacles is your fear that you will come to make the wrong decision, that you're going to ruin things for yourself if you decide to come back into union with this person. And I can understand it is scary. It is something that you definitely do want to spend some time thinking about, which you will be doing or currently are doing with this Seven of Cups. But don't be your own devil. That's what came to me here. Sometimes we can do this to ourselves. Sometimes we can create our own unhealthy bonds, and that might be what you're thinking here. If I decide to say yes to this person, I'm fully responsible. I'm fully responsible for any of the toxicity I bring into this relationship, or fully responsible for letting them bring in this toxic behavior. But it's okay if you use your senses. If you use your senses, you have this King of Swords in your environment to kind of like give you the ability to sit in judgment. If you use your senses, then you can prevent this from becoming a bad decision. It really is, I feel, more in your hands at this point, Aquarius. It's more in your hands, again, also because this, as your outcome card, does suggest that you can manifest whatever it is that you want to manifest. So if you want this to be a more positive relationship, go for that. If you are tripping in your head thinking things are going to keep repeating, history is going to repeat itself, I'm going to get hurt, then that's what you will manifest. You want to stay away from damaging thoughts like that. It is in your hands, Aquarius. Okay, I don't feel the need to clarify any additional cards here. To me, the situation is more or less clear cut here. So, Aquarius, I want to wish you a happy and Merry Christmas this December, and a Happy New Year, of course. I hope that you get all your wishes fulfilled, and may 2017 bring new blessings and new beginnings, new fresh starts, new love, and anything your hearts are desiring at this moment. So thank you so much for viewing. Sorry for being all over the place. Let me know if you like the Celtic cross spread. I will definitely be doing the general spread next month the way that I did it in mid-November. I think I'm going to be alternating. And we will see. There's a potential I will see you mid-December for a mid-month reading if I feel the need to, if I get the urge basically to bring you guys more additional news and messages. I will do that. In the meanwhile, stay in touch. Thumbs me up, thumbs me down. Whatever feels right for you guys. Okay, so I'll see you guys later. I'll see you guys in 2017. Lots of love.